Good evening, friends. Tonight we will go back to the 2nd century and back to the heart of ancient Rome. In a small room on the 4th floor. Here you will experience the largest public baths in ancient Rome, the most infectious Colosseum. So, before you get ready to relax, please give a like and click subscribe. Of course, only if you really like my content. Your support is more important than you think. At the beginning of our video, I really want to see you. Leave your city in the comment section. And the time. Now dim the lights. Let's enter tonight's story with the bell. It's not the sunshine, nor the chirping of birds. But the sound. It's a mixed and pervasive urban symphony. First, it's from downstairs, the tinkling sound from the coppersmith shop, like a never-ending pulse. Then there's a cough from the next room. Dry and dull, making you subconsciously clear your throat. You open your eyes. The room is dark. Only a small beam of gray-white light from the top of the wall, coming through a window without glass. Just illuminating the dust floating in the air. You lie on a straw-filled mattress. It's hard and a little damp. And your bones hurt after sleeping for a long time. This is your home, a single room in an apartment building called Island. Most people in Rome live like you. Live in such a shaky building. These buildings were built by speculators, built with the cheapest wood and inferior concrete. Quickly built. Fires and collapses are common. The poet Materus once complained that it was impossible to sleep in Rome. The baker and school teacher downstairs, and the sound of children reading in the morning, the sound of the blacksmith's hammer, he thought. These noises could drive anyone with insomnia crazy. You sit up, look around, and the room is all a wooden box containing all your belongings, a small charcoal basin for heating or cooking. This is the biggest fire hazard in the room, but without it, you can't survive the winter. A clay water jug is placed in the corner. Next to it is the oil lamp used last night. The black smoke from the wick has stained the wall. Your family is still sleeping beside you. The breathing sounds come and go. There is no privacy in the small space. You live on the 4th floor, which is considered high in Rome. The higher the floor, the cheaper the rent, and the poorer the residence, but also more dangerous. The 1st floor is usually shops, or rented to wealthier tenants. They can at least use tap water. And your first challenge every day is how to deal with your physiological needs. Use the chamber pot in the room, and endure the smell to take it downstairs later. Or go downstairs in the dark, down the 4 steep and slippery stairs that you don't know what's on them. To the stinky public toilet downstairs. You sighed. This is the morning in Rome. You can even smell the mixed smell in the air, the sweat smell of neighbors who haven't washed clean, the sour smell of hangovers in the tavern downstairs, and the ammonia smell of the public toilet in the distance. But strangely, you don't feel unbearable. This is life. It's the mark left by this great city on you. You've even heard of some laws allowing tenants to sue landlords to sue the landlord. But it sounds like a distant joke. For you to have a roof over your head, not waking up in the middle of the night to a fire, is already a blessing. You stand up and start getting dressed. Process is simple, because there is only one choice in your wardrobe. John IQA. It's a simple garment, wool cloth. Which is sewn together at the center seam and shoulders. There are openings for the head and arms in the middle. Your one is undyed white wool. The texture is a bit rough. It's not comfortable to wear close to the body, but it's strong and durable. Hem of the dress is a little worn. There is also a patched mark on the shoulder. This is the uniform of Roman plebeians. Regardless of gender or age, everyone wore it. You put on the tunic and then tighten it with a belt around your waist. This can make the clothes fit better, but also slightly raise the waistline, so that you don't look too sloppy. Your most important possession is hanging on the belt, a small pouch containing a few copper coins. This is your entire budget for today. As you tighten the belt, you glanced at a piece of clothing stacked on the wooden box. It's a toga. Theoretically, as a Roman male citizen, you have the right to wear it in public. The toga is a symbol of status. It distinguishes Roman citizens from slaves and foreigners. It represents your rights, your dignity, and your belonging to this great civilization. But seriously, it's too troublesome to wear. It's made of a large piece of thick wool fabric. It's said that the standard size is 6 meters long and 2 meters wide. You can't put it on properly by yourself. You need help. To put those complex folds elegantly draped over your left shoulder and arm. After wearing it, you feel like you're wrapped in a thick blanket. You move clumsily, and your right arm can hardly move freely. It's heavy, and it's unbearably hot in summer. And it's easy to get dirty. So although you have it, you only wear it on the most formal occasions, such as attending an important public ceremony, or need to testify in court. You reluctant lie for daily work and life. It is completely impractical. You heard that even the great Emperor Augustus had a headache about it. He found that even in the Roman Forum, the place where the Roman spirit was most needed, citizens preferred to wear the convenient tunic. To wander around. So he had to issue a decree mandating that people entering the Squaretto wear the toga to maintain the dignity of Rome. But after all, it's not realistic to send people to check everyone's clothing. Doesn't sound realistic. For you, it's more like a tacit understanding. When you need to play the role of a decent citizen, you would wear a toga. In most of the time when you need to make a living, the practical tunic is your true companion. Choosing not to wear the toga's not a lack of respect for your citizenship, but a pragmatic choice forced by life. You put on the leather sandals on your feet, whose soles are worn thin, and you can clearly feel the cold and uneven floor. Your family members also wake up one after another. Your wife wears her stola, a sleeveless robe worn over the tunic. It's a sign of married women. The children are wearing the same size as you. The Schneid family's clothing is extremely simple, but this is the true portrayal of most people in Rome. Clothes are not for fashion, but to cover the body and keep warm, and silently declare your social class and identity. Now it's time to solve breakfast. Of course, don't expect a sumptuous table. Your breakfast is simple and almost sloppy. You take a loaf of bread from the wooden box. It's what's left over from yesterday. The bread is round with a very dense texture. It's made from barley or spelt wheat. Baked with coarse flour. It's called common bread. It's a bit dry and hard. It's a bit dry and hard. This bread may be one of the greatest benefits. One of the greatest benefits. It comes from the country's food rationing, which is the famous Grain Act. Every month, you can use your citizenship to designated granaries to receive a free grain. This system is the cornerstone of maintaining this million-population city. Is the cornerstone of stability. After all, most people in the city did not engage in agricultural production. Without this food, the whole city of Rome would soon fall into chaos. Of course, what you receive is untreated grain. You need to take it to a commercial bakery and pay a fee to grind it into flour and bake it into bread. You pack up the water jug in the corner, pour yourself half a glass of water. And then add a little bit of vinegar like sour wine. This drink is called posca. It's a daily drink for soldiers and ordinary people. It tastes sour, but quenches your thirst, and it is said that the acidity can make the water from public fountains, the water from the public fountain, safer. You can think of it as a functional drink of ancient Rome. You take that hard bread, dip it in the wine water to make it soft, to make the bread soft and absorb water. And then eat it in one bite. This is your breakfast, without a table or a chair. You just stand there or squatting by the mattress. And eat it in a hurry. The only purpose of this Meals to quickly consume energy that can last you until noon. You occasionally imagine the breakfast of the nobles may have fresh fruits, cheese, bread with honey, but that's like a story from another world. While you're eating, a strange, salty and fishy smell came up from the window of the rich neighbor downstairs. That's the smell of fish sauce. This is the most obsessed seasoning of the Romans, fermented from fish guts and various small fish. It's expensive. Good fish sauce is said to be incredibly delicious, and the bad one, the smell, is hard to describe. For you, fish sauce is a luxury. You only taste it in very few cases, such as a public banquet for a festival, that you might taste a little. When it comes to the taste of the Romans, there are also some peculiarities. Such as they hardly eat butter. In the eyes of the Romans, butter was for barbarians, such as Gauls and Germans. They preferred to use olive oil. The main use of butter in Rome is used as a ointment or skin care product. On the skin. As for the ancient Roman fish sauce, its production process and exact flavor remain a mystery. And you have finished breakfast and have something in your stomach. You can face the noisy day in Rome. Opening the door, you face one of the most dangerous tasks of the day. Go downstairs. The stairs in the apartment you live in are dark and narrow, with no handrails. The steps are made of rough wood. Many places have cracked, squeaking as you walk on them. The stairwell is full of clutter and emits an indescribable mixture of odors. It's damp and moldy, and various household garbage spilled by neighbors. You must be very careful. Move down step by step, while also being vigilant, because at any time the residents upstairs spring a chamber pot or garbage directly from the window. It's strictly prohibited in Rome, but it still happens. If you get hit, you can only consider yourself unlucky. Finally, you reach the ground. As soon as you step on the street, you are immediately overwhelmed by a flood of information. The streets of Rome are not planned. Downstairs from your apartment, on the left is a smoky blacksmith shop. On the right is a noisy tavern. And across the street is a laundry. The air at the door is filled with a pungent smell. There is no such thing as a sidewalk. Pedestrians carrying goods on mules, and slaves carrying sedan chairs for the rich, all crowded on a narrow road paved with irregular stones. You must always be vigilant and keep your eyes on the ground, because the road is full of mud, animal droppings, and various garbage. You should listen to the sounds around you and be ready to dodge the rampaging sedan chairs. The slaves carrying the sedan chair won't stop for you. You also need to protect your money bag, because there are many thieves in the crowd. They are skilled. In the moment you are distracted, they can make your money disappear in a moment. During the day, wheel trucks are prohibited in the city center of Rome. This was a rule set by Julius Caesar. To ease traffic congestion during the day, which sounds like a good idea, but its side effect is the cargo transportation is concentrated at night. So Rome's nights are louder than its days. The heavy truck's sound of wheels rolling on the slate road, curses of the drivers can be heard all night. When you walk on the street, you're like a fish swimming in a torrent. Your route is not entirely up to you, but by the social status of those around you. When a senator's sedan chair comes, the crowd will automatically part away. You must quickly stick to the wall your head to make way for him. You and the craftsmen and vendors, who are also civilians, shoulder to shoulder and pushing each other, but no one dares to block the way of the powerful. This street is a microcosm of the entire Roman social hierarchy. It's chaotic and crowded, but there is a cruel and clear unspoken rule. You see, walls on the street are covered with various graffiti. Some are election slogans supporting a certain candidate. Some are portraits of gladiators drawn by fans. Next to it says how many matches he won. And some are abusive graffiti for personal grudges. These graffiti are like city bulletin boards, filled with vibrant vitality. You look up at the sky. The sunlight was squeezed into a thin line by the tall apartment buildings. You quickened your pace and want to cross this chaotic area as soon as possible. You're going to work on the other side of the city today. The journey itself is a test. Later generations often discuss the night patrols in Ramath role in maintaining public security and fire, how much it mattered. But for you who live in the daytime, the real danger is not the robbers at night, but in broad daylight, the streets full of accidents and conflicts. Every step, you are fighting a small battle for survival. After walking through the narrow and dim alleys, for a while, your eyes suddenly brighten up. You enter the Roman Forum. The scenery is a stark contrast to the chaos just now. It's a huge and open pave with white marble. Surrounded by magnificent temples, basilicas, large public halls, and monuments. The sun shines down without obstruction, making the entire square look splendid and dazzling for a commoner who just came out of a crowded and dirty apartment. The impact is huge. The visual impact of the Roman Forum is huge. It's like a completely different world. The air here seems to be fresher. The footsteps echoed in the empty square, making you unconsciously slow down your pace and straighten your back. Look at the buildings around you. They are not just stones and wood, but symbols of power. Over there is the Julia Basilica. Enter the huge colonnade. Lawyers are arguing loudly. And merchants are negotiating business. The whole hall is buzzing, filled with the vitality of business and law. Not far away is the Senate. Curia building is not big, but it is dignified. Can you imagine senators of Rome deciding the fate of the entire empire? Deciding the fate of the entire empire. Further away is the Hearth Temple, a beautiful circular building where the eternal flame of Rome is enshrined, guarded by Vestal virgins day and night. You can't see the sacred fire, but you know it's there. It gives you a sense of inexplicable peace. People come and go in the square. Officials in gorgeous clothes are talking under the colonnade. Messengers hurry through the square. There are also people like ordinary citizens passing by. You see some special market areas, such as in a corner of the square, there are papyrus sellers selling various books. And in another corner, there may be spice merchants are displaying the precious goods they have brought from the Far East. The existence of these professional markets make the square not only a political center, but also a commercial and information hub. Do you know that beneath this shiny marble floor, there is a complex network of underground service channels? These passages are for slaves and workers, without disturbing the decent activities on the ground, to complete various maintenance and logistical tasks. The entire square is like a well-designed stage, and you are both an unknown crowd actor on stage but also the audience. Standing here, a complex emotion rises in your heart. On the one hand, it is the pride of being a Roman citizen. This magnificent square and these magnificent buildings are all part of this great civilization you belong to. It makes you feel that yourself, not just a poor man living in a shabby apartment, but also a part of the world's masters. On the other hand, this grandeur also makes you feel small and powerless. The scale, order, and luxury are telling you silently this is the power of the empire, and you are insignificant in the face of this power. These buildings themselves are a kind of propaganda, a tool that makes you in awe, a tool that makes you obey and proud. It visually consciously reinforces the order of the empire and the greatness of Rome. It makes you willingly a screw in this huge machine. You take a deep breath and keep moving forward. The splendor of the square is quickly left behind. You're going back to those streets that belong to you, and more chaotic streets. Passing through the square, You come to the place where you work today. As a Roman citizen, you have few job options, and most of them are physical labor. You are paid by the day. Today, you may be working on a construction site. There are always new projects in Rome. New temples, new baths, and new triumphal arches. You work with other workers who carry heavy stones and the foreman's shouting, or perform dangerous high-altitude operations on scaffolding without helmets, no safety ropes. The only reward is at the end of the day, a few sesterces coins at the end of the day. The job is hard and dangerous, but you are building this immortal city. Or you may be a craftsman, working in a small workshop facing the street. Maybe you are a shoemaker, sitting on a stool all day, beating and sewing leather sandals. Maybe you are a potter, shaping jars and plates on a wheel. As a craftsman, you probably belong to a guild. This organization is a bit like a club which brings together people in the same profession. It's like a mutual aid society and social network. You will meet regularly, drink and eat together to worship the patron saint of your industry, and its most important function is to provide you with a decent funeral. The Romans attached great importance to the afterlife. They believed that if they were not properly buried, the soul will not rest in peace. But a decent funeral costs a lot for you who get paid daily. It's hard to save up the money, but the members of the guild pay a monthly fee. To establish a public fund. When a member dies, the guild will use the money to arrange his funeral and bury him in the union's shared cemetery. This gives you great psychological comfort. You know that no matter how hard life is, at least you won't be hastily abandoned after death. Your job defines your life, but your union ensures your posthumous fame. Today, we have something special. Suppose your job is a little more interesting. You are a worker in a laundry. It's definitely one of the weirdest professions in Rome. The Romans didn't have soap. How did they wash off the stubborn oil stains? Stubborn oil stains. The answer is using urine. And the most easily accessible ammonia-rich liquid is human urine. So your job is to stand in a large clay pot and repeatedly step on it with your feet, clothes soaked in a mixture of old urine and water. A large urn is usually placed at the entrance of the laundry. For passers-by to donate raw materials. The job smells bad and very hard work, but the effect is surprisingly good. Ammonia in the urine can effectively break down grease, making the yellow wool fabric white as new. After washing, the clothes will be rinsed many times, then use sulfur fumigation to further bleach and disinfect. Finally, a special presser is used to flatten the clothes. Seeing a dirty toga turns into a brand new one in your hands. It's a unique sense of achievement. No matter what kind of work you do, one thing in common is that work usually ends at noon. The working day for the Romans was short. And the afternoon is for leisure and socializing. When the sun reached its highest point, the foreman would dismiss the workers, and the shopkeepers would close their shops. You wiped your sweat, and you get your pay for today. Although not much, but it's enough for your lunch. Then, to enjoy the most important activity of the Romans, work is over, your stomach starts growling. You can't go home for lunch because there is no decent kitchen. So, like most Romans, your lunch choice is street fast food. You head to the most popular deli nearby. These delicatessens are everywhere on the streets of Rome. It is the pillar of the urban catering system. Its iconic feature is an L-shaped brick counter with several huge clay pots embedded on the counter, which holds various steaming foods. Steam comes out of the mouth of the jar, mixed with the aroma of food. You can smell it from a distance on the street. You walk up to the counter. And look into the jars. What's good to eat today? One jar contains a sauce with beans and vegetables. Another jar contains stewed lentil soup. And in another jar is a sausage cooked with spices. There are also some cold dishes on the counter, a plate of hard cheese, several strings of olives, and freshly baked bread. You use the money you just earned. You bought a hot stew and a small piece of bread. The shopkeeper serves it in a clay bowl. You don't have any cutlery. Ordinary Romans in Rome basically eat with their hands or use bread slices. As spoons, you find a step at the door and sit down. And start enjoying your lunch. The stew tastes rich with many spices added and fish sauce, which is the favorite of Romans, to enhance the hot food. Hot food dispels the fatigue of morning work, making you feel alive again. These cooked food shops can be said to be a microcosm of Roman society. Here, you may see all kinds of people. There are manual workers like you, messengers passing by in a hurry, or even a senator's slave or assistant to pack a lunch for their master. From this perspective, it seems to be a very equal place. But this equality is only superficial. You come here to eat because you have no choice. But those who are richer come here made just for convenience or to try something new. Their main meal is held at home in the evening. With 7 or 8 courses of grand dinners. When it comes to the taste of the rich, it's very diverse. Have you heard of a famous luxury dish? Roasted dormouse. They will keep a small animal called the true dormouse in a special clay pot. And feed them nuts and honey. They keep them fat and then stuff them with stuffing and roast them. This dish is like a fantasy for you. You can't even imagine its taste. You use the last bite of bread to wipe the soup in the bowl clean. Eat it all. Now you're full. And have some spare money. It's time to get down to business for the afternoon. You stand up, pat your body to remove the breadcrumbs, and join the crowd. And head in one direction. The whole city of Rome seems to be at this time of towards the same destination. The afternoon sun became a little lazy, and the atmosphere of the city also changed. The tension of running for a living in the morning disappeared. Replaced by a sense of ease and anticipation. The flow of people on the street did not decrease, but it was even more surging. But the direction is surprisingly consistent. Everyone seems to be attracted by an invisible gravity towards the most popular, the most magnificent and popular buildings, the public baths. You are also in this crowd. Going to the baths is a fixed part of daily life, an unshakable part of their daily lives. It's not just for bathing. It is a way of life. It is the most important social activity in Rome. You head towards the nearest large imperial bathhouse, such as the Caracalla baths or the Trajan baths. These buildings are not so much baths, are more like comprehensive leisure palaces. They covered a large area and grand in scale. They were funded by the emperor and open to all citizens. The ticket price to enter the baths was extremely low, usually only 1 quadrans. This is the smallest copper coin in Rome. At this price was affordable for even the poorest citizens. The reason why the emperors were so generous, certainly not because they were kind-hearted. Later generations have been discussing Roman emperors. The real motives for building these luxurious baths. On the one hand, it was indeed an important municipal project. By providing clean facilities, it helped maintain public health in this crowded city, preventing the outbreak of large-scale plagues. But the deeper reason may be for social control. Think about it. Your living place is narrow, dirty, and stressful, while the state provides you with a cheap where you can escape from reality. Here, you can wash away the fatigue and dirt of the day, chat with friends, you can exercise, or even read books and enjoy art. This huge contrast makes you grateful to the emperor who provides all this, thus reducing the possibility of social dissatisfaction and unrest. This is the perfect embodiment of the bread and circus strategy. The bathhouse is the daily version of the circus. When you enter the bathhouse, you first feel its scale. The huge walls and magnificent arches making you feel like you're entering a temple. Then you will hear sounds coming from inside. It's a unique, noisy, and vibrant sound. The philosopher Senecaeans lived upstairs in a bathhouse. He had a very vivid complaint about it. He wrote that he could hear the groans of people's grunts when they lifted the lead bowls and the clanging sound when they dropped it. He could hear the shots of those playing ball. He could hear the loud noise when thieves were caught. He could hear beautiful singing of those who liked to sing in water. And the hair removal specialists sharp cry screaming to attract customers. Seneca's complaint just depicts a vivid picture of the bathhouse. Here is definitely not a quiet and peaceful spa center, but a lively and bustling and a lively social club. You feel familiar with this sound because it represents relaxation and happiness. You hold the small copper coin in your pocket and walked into the bathhouse with great expectations. You're ready to melt away the morning's hard work and worry, so melt in the warm steam. Passing through the magnificent entrance, you first came to the locker room. It's a spacious hall with rows of niches chiseled into the walls on both sides, just like today's lockers. It was crowded. People are taking off clothes that represent class and occupation and prepare to use your naked body to embrace the brief equality in the bathhouse. You find an empty niche. You take off your simple tunic and worn sandals. Take them off, fold them carefully, and put them in. Then you feel your first anxiety this afternoon. How to keep your clothes. There are no locks in the locker room, although there are slaves who can be paid to watch, but you are reluctant to spend the money. Thieves in the bathhouse are notoriously rampant. They steal clothes and personal belongings. While people are bathing, if your clothes are stolen, you may have to go home naked. That would be a huge joke and shame. You can only push your clothes as deep into the niche as possible, and then pray for good luck. This seemingly insignificant concern just reveals the illusion of equality in the bathhouse. When you and a senator both take off your clothes and stand naked together, you may seem no different. But the reality is, has several slaves within. One holds his expensive fragrant oil and scraper, while another is keeping his clothes close at hand. While you can only rely on yourself. The difference in social status will not disappear because of nudity. It just manifests in a different way. After undressing, you didn't go directly to the bathing area, but instead you walked into the adjacent open-air sports ground. It's a courtyard surrounded by colonnades. The ground is a flat sandy area. The afternoon sun is just right. Many people are here performing various mild physical exercises. It's both a warm-up before bathing, but also an important social activity. You see some people are playing a triangle ball game similar to handball today. It requires 3 people to quickly throw and catch the ball, which tests their reflexes. Some people are wrestling, but more of a technical foot strength rather than savage fighting. Some people like you are doing more simple exercises, such as lifting dumbbells made of stone or metal, or just jogging a few laps in the yard to make your body slightly sweat. The air is filled with sweat, dusty air, and people's laughter. You greet some acquaintances and talked about today's wages. Or the latest gossip in the city. Here, you can see all kinds of body shapes. There are young people with strong and fit bodies, and middle-aged people's loosey and sagging bellies, and the thin trunks of the elderly. Everyone is used to it. No one feels ashamed of their body. But about the bathhouse, there is a very curious question: whether men and women bathe together. The answer is very complicated. In the late Republic and early Empire, there was indeed a phenomenon of mixed bathing, which was written by some elite writers at that time, caused moral panic. But later, emperors like Hadrian began to ordered to prohibit and promote time or area use. By the time you were living Most of the regular large bath separate male and female bathhouses stipulated different opening hours. So all you see here are men. You've warmed up enough, and your body starts to feel slightly hot. You are ready to enter the real bathing process. You pass through the sports field and head towards the door to the indoor bath. A warm and humid air hits you. Now the real spa is about to begin. The process of the Roman bath is carefully designed. It follows a scientific sequence from warm to hot, and then to cold. The first room you enter is the warm water room. The temperature in this room is higher than outside, but not too hot. Its function is to adapt you to higher temperatures, and it is also an important social place. The walls and floors of the room are heated evenly through the underground heating system. So it feels very comfortable to walk barefoot on it. There may be a small fountain in the center of the room. The air is warm and humid. You can find a bench here and sit down and continue with your friends. Continue the unfinished conversation at the playground. People talk and gossip here. The sound echoes under the arched roof. It's a transitional space to relax your body and mind. After staying in the warm water pool for a while, you feel your pores have slightly opened. You get up and walk to the next room. As you open the door to the hot water room, a hot steam immediately surrounds you. The temperature here is very high, just like today's sauna room. The room is usually located on the south side of the bathhouse, with huge windows to absorb sunlight to the greatest extent. Your skin immediately begins to sweat, and soon you are sweating profusely. There are usually several hot water pools in the room. You can go in and soak for a while to completely relax your body. But the most important part of the hot water room is not bathing, but cleaning. From the small jar you brought with you, pour out some olive oil and apply it evenly to your whole body. The oil can dissolve the dirt and dead skin on the skin. Then you take out your scraper. It's an S-shaped bronze or iron tool to scrape off the oil, sweat, and dirt on the body. You can do it yourself, or ask a friend to help you scrape your back. Of course, if you have money, you can hire slaves in the bathhouse to serve you. You scrape your skin hard. Layer of black mud, sweat, and dust was scraped off. This process may be a bit unacceptable, but in the eyes of the Romans, this is the real cleaning. They believe that by sweating a lot and scraping off dirt, they can get rid of the bad things in the body to achieve a healthy and balanced state. Speaking of the scraped mud, there is a very strange use. It is said that some famous gladiators or athletes' dirt scraped off would be collected and sold in small bottles. People believe fat essence from the strong body, when applied to the body, can cure certain diseases or bring good luck. Well, it can only be said that the ancient people's healthcare ideal heating system of the entire bathhouse, that is, the floor, is a great miracle of Roman engineering. Workers built dense brick pillars underground to raise the entire floor, forming a hollow layer. In the boiler room next to it, the slaves kept adding wood to the furnace that generated hot air, circulated in this hollow layer, heating the floor and walls above. The specific design and thermal efficiency of this system are still studied and admired by archaeologists. Steps of research and admiration. In the hot water room, you feel really comfortable. After sweating profusely, you feel all the fatigue in your body has been drained. Finally, you need to complete the last step of the whole process, and the most exciting one. You quickly walk through the warm water room and rush directly to the cold water room. Here usually is a gorgeous hall with a huge cold water pool. You take a deep breath and jump into the icy pool without hesitation. At that moment, you feel your pores all contract, and your spirit is refreshed. The feeling of being drowsy in the hot room, the drowsy feeling, disappeared. Instead is an indescribable freshness and vitality. You fluttered in the cold water. Then climb out of the pool and feel refreshed. So far, the complete Roman bath process is over. You feel your body is clean and your mind is greatly relaxed. It's not just a cleaning, but a reboot of your body and mind. After completing the standard bathing process, you don't rush to leave. Because for the Romans, the bathhouse was never just a place to take a bath. It is a huge cultural and social complex. It is the real core of urban life. You dry your body. You can leave your clothes on. Wrap a linen cloth around your waist and start wandering around other areas of the bathhouse. You walk through a corridor decorated with beautiful mosaics and come to the bath library. Yes, you heard it right. Library. Large royal baths usually has two libraries. One for Latin scrolls and the other for Greek scrolls. The bookshelves are arranged along the walls. You can take down a scroll at will and read in the reading room nearby. Although you may not be very literate, you can still come here to feel the cultural atmosphere. Or listen to scholars debating. Leaving the library, you come to the vast garden attached to the bathhouse. There are green trees and flowers are blooming. Decorated with various exquisite statues. People walk and talk in the garden, enjoying a moment of peace away from the city's hustle. There is also a small shop in the garden. You can buy some drinks or snacks, such as fruits, nuts, and honey cakes. You are walking. You suddenly hear a cadenced recitation. You walk over curiously. You find a man in a toga standing under a statue. He was passionate, reciting his own poems to the people around him. He was engaged in his expression, gesticulating with his hands, but the audience didn't seem to buy it. Some people were snickering, and some quietly slipped away. This is a common scene in the bathhouse. Many little-known poets or writers use the bathhouse as a platform to release their new works, because there are a large number of idle and bored potential listeners. For you, it's a kind of free entertainment. Although the quality of poetry is uneven, besides libraries and gardens, there are also lecture halls, concert halls, and even a small gymnasium. It's like a modern community activity center, which meets people's various needs from body to spirit. Emperors showed their mercy and cultural superiority. Civilized luxuristo showed their mercy and imperial culture. And superiority. They not only provided you with cleanliness, but also art and knowledge. This is a very clever ruling strategy. While you enjoy all these, you identify and attach to the system from the bottom of your heart. But is public health more beneficial or harmful, or the latter? On the one hand, undoubtedly improves the personal hygiene of the entire city's population, which helps control some diseases caused by poor hygiene. On the other hand, thousands of people bathe in the same pool, and the water circulation and disinfection methods are relatively primitive. This also makes baths have become a breeding ground for and other infectious diseases. Some ancient doctors have pointed out that going to the bathhouse may cause various diseases. So the cleanliness and relaxation you enjoy here actually comes with certain health risks. But at this moment, you don't think so much. You are just enjoying this kind of cheap luxury. You sit on a bench in the garden for a while, watching the people coming and going, and feel like you are sharing gand women in slave costume measuring the same sunshine and space at this moment. It feels good. It's almost time. You're going to the locker room to get dressed, because today there's an even more exciting show waiting for you. You put on your clothes and walked out of the bathhouse. You feel relaxed all over, but the lazy atmosphere in the air has disappeared. In its place is a growing and expectant excitement, because today is the day of the Colosseum show. You are joining thousands of people. Join a huge crowd of people. Towards the world-famous building. The closer you get, the more you can feel its oppression. It's like an artificial mountain standing in the center of Rome. The huge arches and the layers of stands make you involuntarily hold your breath. Today, you can come to watch the show is a luxury for you. Although some Etamest Emperor would offer free performances, but many times tickets still need to be purchased. You're lucky. You got a ticket through your guild. This ticket is not paper, but a small piece of pottery or bone. With several numbers engraved on it. Corresponding to which entrance arch you should enter through, and which area and row your seat is in. This system is the pinnacle of the Romans' organizational ability. The Colosseum has 80 entrances, 76 of which are open to the public. Through this numbering system, more than 50,000 spectators can in a short time enter orderly and find their seats, without causing large-scale congestion and chaos. This is an amazing performance in itself. You find the corresponding entrance arch on the ticket. Showed your ticket to the ticket inspector, then follow the internal stairs and passage up. The seating arrangement in the Colosseum is the most intuitive and most naked manifestation. Your seat is on the top floor, which is the 5th floor. The stands here are made of wood, with the steepest sloping the worst view. This is for ordinary people like you, small traders and women. Look down to the 4th floor is for the middle class and wealthy freemen. The 3rd floor is for the knight class. The 2nd floor, with the best view, is reserved for the members of the Senate. The platform closest to the Sandpitus, a marble platform, is reserved for Emperor Vesta, the Vestal virgins, and the highest-ranking officials. Everyone sits in their own class. The entire audience is like a huge social structure. You and the emperor are watching the same performance, but there is a distant and insurmountable physical and social distance. This design itself is a brilliant social engineering. It brings more than 50,000 people together to share a collective carnival experience, but at the same time, through the seating arrangement, reminds everyone to abide by their duties and recognize their place. This is a silent education about social order. You finally find your seat, a narrow stone step. You squeezed into the excited crowd. Downwards, overlooking the white sand by the sunlight. There are high walls around the sand, on the top, with rollers and fences to prevent beasts from jumping up. You can also see the masts on top of the Colosseum. They are used to fix the huge sunshade canvas. The weather is nice today. The canvas has been unfolded like a huge canopy. It shields most of the audience from the scorching sun. This canvas show hundreds of sailors operate and unfold it from such a high place. The specific engineering details are still talked about by scholars and controversial topic. You look around. The Colosseum is already full of people. The hum of 50,000 people merged into one. The air is filled with the smell of sweat, food, and anticipation. You see vendors walking around the stands, selling drinks and snacks. You clench your fists, and your heart starts to pound. You know a thrilling spectacle is about to begin. Before the official performance begins, there is a grand entrance ceremony. It's like a magnificent parade. Aiming to show the majesty of the empire in the grand performance. You hear a loud horn sound. The entire Colosseum instantly fell silent. Then the music starts. The parade team enters from a special entrance into the sand slowly, leading the Paradera group of trumpeters and musicians in gorgeous uniforms. They played stirring music. Following them are a group of attendants holding various flags and idols, representing the Roman gods witnessing the event. Then came the sponsor of today's performance, usually the emperor himself or a senior official. He rode in a magnificent carriage around the arena, waving to the audience. The audience burst into thunderous cheer, shouting his name. This is the moment to show respect and gratitude to power. The last and most exciting part is the entrance of the gladiators. They lined up in neat rows, wearing armor of their respective schools, holding weapons, and walked into the arena with steady steps. They are tall and strong, and their shining armor in the sunlight, making them look like gods descending to earth. They will walk around the arena to greet the emperor and the audience. Speaking of which, we need to clarify a widely circulated misconception. In many movies, gladiators raise their arms shouting to the emperor that we dying men salute to you. This line is indeed very tragic, but according to research, it was not a regular greeting for gladiators. It was only recorded in a very special event, was recorded. At that time, Emperor Claudius organized a naval battle performed by thousands of death row inmates. These prisoners, who were not professional gladiators, shouted this sentence before they died. Professional gladiators were expensive performers. Did think they would surely die when they played. So they were unlikely to say such a discouraging word. After the parade left, the morning's performance officially began. Usually in the morning, the show is hunting on the sand of the Colosseum. Temporary forests, hills, and other scenes will be set up. Then, various exotic animals are released from all over the empire. You can see ostriches from North Africa, bears from Gaul, boars from the Danube. Sometimes even rarer animals can be seen, such as lions, tigers, leopards, even rhinos, and elephants. These animals will be hunted by professional hunters or armed prisoners. The scene is very spectacular, but also full of cruelty. For you, it's not just about watching the fun. When you see a lion from distant Africa being killed in the center of Rome, it is a very intuitive display of imperial power. It tells you that Rome's power is supreme. It could conquer the most powerful beasts in the world and bring them to you. The logistics involved in capturing, logistics system of capture, transportation, and feeding, its complexity and magnitude are still amazing to this day. The morning's hunting show and execution of prisoners usually involves the beasts biting them. There will be a break after the show. Workers will quickly enter the venue to clean up the blood on the sand and lay a new layer of clean sand. The word sand has become synonymous with the arena. You took this opportunity at some bread and olives you brought. After a brief lull, the atmosphere in the Colosseum began to heat up again. Because everyone knows that the afternoon's program is the real highlight of the day. The afternoon sun began to tilt, and the atmosphere in the Colosseum reached its peak. The intermission is over. The horns sounded again, announcing the most anticipated gladiator duel. Was about to begin. You lean forward, staring closely at the sand. The first to enter the arena are two different types of gladiators. They will have a classic duel. One is the pursuer. He is fully armored, holding a huge shield and a short sword. On his head wears a smooth helmet with only two small holes to prevent his opponent's weapons from stabbing him. His opponent is the king holder. The equipment of the king holder looks very shabby. He hardly wears any armor, only with shoulder and arm guards. His weapon is a fishing net, a trident, and a dagger. This duel is a contest of strength and agility. The chaser is like a heavy tank pressing forward, trying to use his shield to knock his opponent away, and then give a fatal blow with a short sword. The net wielder is like a flexible dancer, constantly retreating and jumping, keeping distance from the opponent, and look for opportunities to cast the net to trap the opponent, and then attack with the trident. You and the audience around you cheer for their every attack, every dodge with cheers or exclamations. This is not a mindless bloody fight, but a martial arts duel, full of skills and strategies. Most of these gladiators were slaves or prisoners of war, but they have all undergone rigorous training and are professional fighters. The best of them were highly valued and were superstars in Rome. Their names and records were painted in every corner of the city. Through the analysis of the skeletons of ancient gladiators on skeletal remains, scientists found that their diet was very special. Their skeletons contained high levels of calcium and silk, which indicates that they mainly lived on plant food, especially barley. So they were nicknamed barley eaters. This high carbohydrate diet helped them form a thick layer of fat under the skin. This layer of fat can in battle play a certain buffering role to protect the underlying muscles and blood vessels from being affected by slight cuts. So they may not be like in the movies, all muscular and well-defined men, but more like strong fat men. The battle was very intense. Finally, the net holder with more flexible steps and caught a tiny flaw in the pursuer and successfully covered him with a fishing net. The pursuer fell to the ground and was entangled in the net and couldn't move. The net holder held a trident against his throat. At this moment, the eyes of the audience all turned to the sponsor, who was the emperor himself. Today, the fallen pursuer raised a finger. This was a signal for forgiveness. Now his life depends on the audience's reaction and the emperor's final decision. The audience began to make gestures. This is the famous moment of thumbs down. But what does this gesture actually mean? Still uncertain. We usually think that the thumb down means to kill him. End up means forgiveness. But some people have suggested situation may be the opposite. Thumbs down may imitate the action of inserting a sword into the ground, indicating to lay down weapons and forgive him, while pointing the thumb to the throat or up like drawing a sword, indicate the demand for execution. Due to the vague historical records, we may never be able to determine the truth. Today, the pursuer fought bravely. The audience seemed to prefer to forgive him. The emperor saw the will of the people and made a corresponding gesture. The king withdrew the trident. The pursuer was helped up. Although he lost the game, but saved his life. A wonderful duel has ended. The audience gave him a warm applause. Next, more different types of gladiators will appear, such as Mirmillo, who imitates a Roman legionary, and his classic opponent, the Thracian with a curved blade. Each duel has its unique highlights for you. These gladiators are the most contradictory manifestations. They were humble and regarded as unclean. But they can, in the arena through courage and martial arts, earn everyone's respect and admiration. This fascination with discipline, violence, and personal bravery deeply engraved in the bones of Roman culture. The sun is setting. The golden afterglow is shining on the top stands of the Colosseum. The last duel was over. Today's performance comes to an end. 50,000 spectators began to leave slowly. They poured out of the exits like a tide. You are among the tired and excited crowd. Down the stairs, the clanging of weapons, and the shouts of the crowd, You walk back to the Roman streets in the twilight. The hustle and bustle of the day gradually subsided, but the city was not asleep. The shop doors have been closed, but the torches on the street and oil lamps from some buildings cast flickering shadows on the slate road. A new smell fills the air. It's the smell of dinner cooking from every household. You feel hungry. You can't go home like the rich. Go home and enjoy a grand dinner with 7 or 8 dishes. Your dinner is as simple as your lunch. You walk to a street stall that is still open and use the last few coins in your pocket and bought a piece of bread, a small piece of cheese, and a few salty olives. This is your dinner. Today, you eat while walking and walk through the increasingly dark streets. There are no street names in Rome. You can only rely on familiar buildings and landmarks to identify the direction. For example, you tell yourself to turn left at that big fountain and then walk straight to the bakery. My home is in the alley behind. Rome at night is dangerous. Although there are night patrols for security and fire, but they are limited in manpower and it's impossible to cover every corner of the city. For you, the best strategy is to go home as soon as possible, to avoid meeting robbers or drunks in the dark alley. You finally return to the apartment you live in. It's dark downstairs. You can only feel your way to grab the cold wall and start climbing up. The familiar creaking stairs on the fourth floor. Every step up, the sound of the city is a little farther away. Instead, is the conversation coming from the neighbors' houses. And the baby's cries. You push open the door and return to the small and dim single room. Your family has gone to sleep. There's only a small oil lamp flickering in the room. You take off your sandals and put the remaining bread and cheese on the wooden box, leaving it for your family as breakfast tomorrow. You lie back on the hard straw mat, close your eyes. This day is over. You set off from a crowded home, across the chaotic streets, and witness the grandeur of the Imperial Square. Sweating on the construction site, washed away the fatigue in the bathhouse, and in the Colosseum. You felt the ultimate excitement and violence. Finally, you return to this small and fragile starting point. The experience of this day is a microcosm of the lives of most ordinary Romans. Your private living space is full of embarrassment and anxiety, but the country provides you with magnificent public space and spectacular entertainment. It didn't improve your housing, but it gave you a place where you can temporarily forget how bad your house is. Perhaps it's Rome's secret to maintaining its stable urban population. By using public luxury and spectacle to balance private poverty and hardships. It's an unspoken social contract. And the underlying logic of this great empire's operation. You slowly sink into sleep in exhaustion. Now you have returned to your room. Lying on the soft and comfortable bed. The noisy day of ancient Rome has gradually fades away and turned into a distant dream. Every part of your body feel the gentle embrace of the mattress. The hard stone steps and rough grass mats have all dissipated on the edge of consciousness. Good night.